Hi, welcome to Demo Garage. I'm Steven, and in today's episode, I got another project on the RV. I have unfortunately caused a little damage to the roof line. There it is. This was done, in my defense, it was in the rain, in the dark, 5 a.m., and it was in a parking lot and with a low tree branch, and I guess I wasn't paying attention to the tree and bumped it at a low speed, I don't know, 3 or 4 miles an hour, as almost ready to come to a complete stop when I hit the tree branch. So come along with me and let's see what we can do about that. So the damage is actually to this aluminum extrusion, and I've got a little plastic piece that I've replaced. It just pulls out and exposes a bunch of screws, and it may or may not be glued to these fiberglass panels on both sides. So the first step would be to pull this rubber strip off, and I think there's one screw down here that's I need to take out. Yeah, there it is. So let me pull that screw out, and then I shall be pulling this strip off, exposing the screws, and then I'll get a ladder or something. This is all one piece of extrusion, comes all the way over here. So I don't know if there's any damage to the fiberglass panels here or here. I'm hoping that when I get that aluminum extrusion off, that the original shape to this panel is restored. So let me go ahead and start looking at the screws, and I'll figure out how to get up there, and let's reassess what it looks like up there. So in the next clip, I'll be up there taking a closer look. I'll bring it back. Okay, so here's how I intend to get up to roof level to inspect the damage. Just pulled my truck back, and I'm going to stand on the back, take a quick look, and again, I'll bring it back when I get up there. Okay, so I'm up here. I'm not really sure how much detail you're going to be able to get from this. This is all residue from some tape that I used. Like I said, it was raining, and I wasn't sure how waterproof this was going to be, so I threw some tape on there and obviously left it on too long. So this is going to be real fun to pull the residue off. But okay, so I'm hoping not to find any damage to the fiberglass pieces. I'm gonna pull this guy off. It looks like I hit just the right way so that this little rubber strip has exposed one of the screws. I've got additional stuff going on here. So there's been some sealant that has come over this top edge. Pretty dirty up here. So I'm gonna spend some time in somehow getting this sealant up and then exposing these screws like this one. And I have since found out that at least the ones that I'm looking at are these little square drives. So I think I'm going to go back down and maybe start at that end. I've already got this rubber strip coming up, and I'm going to pull all of this off and start working my screws off, and then come back up here. And the idea is to remove this extrusion in one piece in a big, question mark shape. And I'll bring you back when I got something interesting to show you. Again, this is going to be super easy. It's just pulling the strip out of the extrusion, exposing these screws, and removing the screws. And this is going to be the easy part. actually unscrewing these. I'm hoping these aren't all rusted and break off, and then figuring out what's going to be involved to get this pulled off when all those screws are out. That again is another topic. So I'll bring it back when I get another clip. Okay, so I've had my suspicions. In the past, I had a feeling like some of this had been repainted once before, and I'm looking at this extrusion and I can see that additional screw holes are in here, which leads me to believe that a previous owner had a similar issue with the RV and has damaged this section. I don't know about the other side, but this side has definitely seen some work from somebody. And so if it's been done once, maybe I can fix it again myself. So anyway, I wanted to point that out, that I'm not the only numbnuts. And if you're watching this video, you probably have done something similar and hoping to do a repair as I'm doing. So I'm hoping you learn from my mistakes on this one and come out with a good project in the end. But anyway, wanted to point that out. I'm not the only one. I'll bring you back. Okay, so I ran my pocket knife over here just to cut this edge, and I've been pulling this up and it's working pretty good. And at some point near the end, you know, there are hidden screws underneath it, but here on the end there's one on top of it. So this is all, I'm basically taking this video clip for my cell phone so I can put it back together in the same way. So I'm gonna finish getting these screws out, and then I need to also break the edge of the sealant on this side of the line. And I'll probably get a straight edge out and try and score that. And then I'm gonna start at the bottom and get in a screwdriver and try and peel this edge away, kind of work my way around the edge. So this is what I'm finding. The screws are coming out, some of them better than others. Definitely gonna replace all the screws. Yep, so here's what I'm finding. And the next time you see up here, I will have scored this and probably scraped all of the sealant back in an attempt to clear this aluminum extrusion. And I'll bring you back when I get another clip. Okay, got all these screws out. Let's see how difficult this is going to be to just trying to get a screwdriver in between the frame. Get some movement. Okay. All right, so doesn't appear that I've got a, okay, it looks like maybe just butyl tape holding this in. Maybe not even silicone. So okay, oh, this is gonna be all right. This is gonna be easier than I thought. Okay, so I'm just gonna work my, let me change the camera angle. I'll bring you right back. This isn't gonna be too bad. So yeah, okay. So let me just kind of work my way around the edge, and I'll bring you back when I got something to show you. Oh yeah, there we go. All right, I think it's time to move the truck and get a little closer. Okay, got it off. So there's the damage I'm hoping to straighten out. I have a thought on how I'm going to do that. And then there's the tape, and here's the construction. So on this face, it looks like we've got fiberglass and then a thin wood product on this edge, and then maybe a galvanized steel frame inside here. And then on this face, we've got fiberglass with a thicker sheet of plywood, and there's a substantial gap. Is anyone surprised? Construction of RVs these days. Anyway, that trim does a good job covering it up. And I've got a big job ahead of me. And so I'm going to spend some time and clean up both sides of the fiberglass all the way around. I'm not going to bring you back for a little while until I have that all cleaned up. And I've got lots of residue to clean up there, so guess I'll get to it. Nothing but to do but to get to it. So I'll bring you back. Okay, so it's been, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours later, and I've cleaned up the muck and the guck as far as I'm going to do so for now. And it was a collection of simple green and an orbital polisher and some goof off, but I got all the tape off. I thought I might show you the construction method here. Looks like the roof has got like a thick vinyl layer, and then we've got some plywood on top of that, and then of course the aluminum strip comes all the way to this edge. So before I reinstall, I'm going to do something. I have half a mind of, I don't know, maybe painting the surface with some sort of a sealer. That would be needed in this section, but for this front section that goes around, this is solid fiberglass. I know I'd shown you a couple of the panel constructions. Like this is a thin layer of fiberglass and wood, and you can see here's the damage that is left. I think this surface is going to be unmarred from, and you can see it looks like the previous paint job from the previous damage. I don't know if you can see that between the two. This was painted for some previous damage, and this is the damage I recently did. And so I'm not going to do anything with this. I'm going to try and pull this back into alignment, and I think the majority of this is going to be what's going to disappear behind the aluminum rail. So I might do a little paint touch up or some filling or something right here. I'm going to try and leave that mostly untouched. It's a little bit of stress cracking through here. I'm not sure how well that's showing up, but I don't know that that's going to be super visible. Again, I'm not sure how I'm going to go about straightening this, but I'm going to try and do as little repair, if any, on this face. Doesn't need anything here. I'm going to go ahead and make a template of this curvature to help with trying to straighten the aluminum extrusion. But here's what I found. I thought I'd bring you back for a construction method on these RVs. And when I reinstall, there's probably going to be some sealing, some butyl tape, whatnot. And yeah, so this is what I found. I thought you'd be interested in this construction method. This is cleaned up as far as I'm going to go for now. And I'll bring you back when I got another clip to show you. Okay, so this is maybe a step not required, but I've gone ahead and shoved a bunch of shims like that in, and used my Dremel and a couple of different bits, and I've get that later. I've ground back the the wood edge as deep as I think I can. And my thought is I would make a plywood piece yay big, and then thickened epoxy that on the inside edge and kind of force this. It's currently bent in a little bit, but I think I can force this into more of a vertical orientation. So I think it's gonna be pretty easy to, at this point, you know, make a pattern with some paper, transfer that to a piece of really thin wood. And I've actually got quite a bit of gap here that probably doesn't need to be that thin, but yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and make a pattern of that. I've got it ground down, and I'm gonna make a pattern and glue that on prior to any kind of repair here, which may or may not happen in the future. Anyway, I'm just screwing around, probably trying to avoid repair of that guy, but I need to go to Home Depot anyway to get some masonite, and I'll bring you back when I got something to show you. Okay, so here's the next step. I went up there and I put a piece of cardboard on this edge and I traced it out and did a little CAD, cardboard aided design. So now I have matched this curvature, made some marks. So the next step is for me to take this cardboard and lay it out onto some particle board and make it form. And I've made a mark somewhere around here that equates to somewhere around here. And then in the area that it's damaged right here, I've made a couple of marks that you can't see because it's on the inside here. So the idea is I'm gonna make a particle board frame, and I'm gonna be able to set up the extruded, you know, bent aluminum frame, and I'm gonna be trying to tap it back into place along this edge that's in the damage zone. So next step is I'm going to transfer this onto some particle board, and I'll bring you back when I have something to show you. Well, I didn't pull out the camera earlier, but you can see I'm making this reinforcement piece, and I'm just bringing you to this stage. I had to go buy more cutting wheels for the die grinder, and maybe you don't know what this is for yet, but let me get it a little bit further done and you'll be seeing it later. Part of the reinforcement of the damaged fiberglass up on the roof. And oh, by the way, I'm curious if anyone recognizes my shim. I was thinking about that the other day. That's what I found to help me keep from crushing the extrusion so far. But it was a desperate move. It was a weekend. I grabbed that because I had it, but it's such an odd shape. I'm curious if any of you recognize what it's for. Anyway, comment if you know what it is. But yep, so let me finish cutting this out and getting it prepped, and then I'll bring you back when I'm getting close to installing it. So I'll bring you back. Okay, so I'm bringing you back for another clip. First off, I've got this piece all done. And I've drilled holes because I want the thickened epoxy to come through when I've adhered it to the inside of the damaged side piece on the RV. And I've forgotten, but now feeling this, I just remembered I'm going to go ahead and hit these with the countersink on both sides. And I went ahead and cleaned it up. I'll wipe it down with some I don't know, cleaning, some isopropyl or something. So it's nice and oil free when I try and adhere it. And then I've cut a bunch of grooves in it, so maybe there's some mechanical advantage as well. So that's okay. So bringing you back for another clip. Time to do a little damage repair on this section. If you remember from an earlier clip, I've kind of ground out, hollowed out the thin plywood backer. on this fiberglass. Now I'd like to reinforce it a little bit. So I have made this and I got it roughed up and I've got holes in it so that the epoxy I intend to use will kind of go through it and maybe help with the mechanical bond. So the idea is to mix up some glue, and I'm not sure how I'm going to clamp this together, but the idea is to glue this flat steel piece in an attempt to kind of make this more stable, this damaged area more stable. So let me figure out how I'm going to do that and I'll bring you back. Okay, so I'm gonna adhere this reinforcement in now. The idea is to mix up some catalyzed fiberglass and paint it in there, give it an opportunity to soak in, then mix in some thickened silica, thicken it up, and then basically glue it in and hold it in with a series of whatever clips I have. And then possibly use the parchment to keep the clips from sticking. So let me get to that and I'll bring you back after I've got that completed. Okay, got it thickened. Fiberglass resin, kind of looks like this, nice and thick. And I'm gonna do my best to kind of hold it in place for the next 10 minutes or so. I think it's gonna go off pretty fast. It's kind of warm out here. But yeah, got it clipped in place and it went pretty much as expected. I'm hoping that makes a good bond. Probably not gonna be able to see anything in this image, but I'm gonna stop this video clip right here because I want to add my own pressure, my own hands on this, so I'll bring you back. Okay, so I'm not sure if this step is gonna be that's probably not a bad idea, but I'm gonna go ahead and paint all the raw plywood edges on this opening, and you know, in case there's any leaking in the future, that may or may not help. It was inexpensive insurance, so I'm gonna go ahead and climb up there and see how that reinforcement did. And while I'm up there, I'm just gonna paint on some of this sealer. All right, let's see how this turned out. Just gonna toss my clips into the lawn to be picked up later. All right, this one might be partially glued. I think it was just caught under the lip. All right, how'd this turn out? Not bad. Not bad. Oh, that's really good. There was a okay, so you can see there's a lot of flex. I don't know if it's coming across, but there's a lot of flex here. But where there's damage, ow, just stabbed myself. Where there's a lot of damage, that is stiff. So now I feel like I can do a little bit of repair on what might be visible on the outside. That's awesome. Okay. Okay, so that met my expectations. I like that. Now I'm going to go ahead and paint this wood edge with the sealer. And I'm considering filling in this gap a little bit with something. I've got some tan. Not that it needs to be tan because it's not going to be visible, but thinking about maybe doing a little sealing here because I can't believe it didn't leak with that weird foam strip on the inside edge of the part I'm straightening. I can't believe it didn't leak from the factory. So anyway, I think this reinforcement strip was a total success. I'm going to go ahead and paint on sealer to this wood edge, and then I'll bring you back when I got something to show you. Okay, another step that is probably not absolutely necessary, but I found I've got a fairly wide gap here from these two vertical faces of the RV. So I'm got some silicone, and I'm going to go ahead. I've already sealed the edges of the plywood you can see on both faces. So now I'm just taking the extra time and a couple bucks to fill that, just in case the trim that I'm putting on ever leaks, then I won't have an issue. And that went all the way around, and then went all the way around, and then went all the way around. So anyway, little extra step that may or may not make a difference in the future, but I'm in here, so I might as well. I'll bring it back. Okay, well, this is the end of the video. Sorry to do this to you, but I started doing some video editing, and I realized I have so much footage and I'm not quite even done yet. So I'm breaking this into at least 2 parts, maybe 3. Again, sorry to do that to you. I am making progress. As you can see here, I'm in paint. So I've got some installation to do. But yep, so this is the end of part 1. And I hope you learned something. I know I did. Until the next part comes out, bye.